Per PW Insider, one of the major discussions backstage at Raw this week circled around what will be closing the Bad Blood pay-per-view. Mike Johnson says that we are told the initial plan as of months ago was to build the pay-per-view around the idea of the anniversary of the first ever Hell in a Cell in 1997, since the event this year lands on the exact same date. That would have meant CM Punk against Drew McIntyre should have closed the show. There has been a push in certain circles of the company that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, teaming for the first time ever and in a city that has significant historical significance to each, that being Atlanta, should headline the show against the Bloodline. We are told the final decision has not yet been made. All I'm going to say is this. To me, I don't care either way, but you've got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre going on television now, both men promising to make the other bleed inside the cell. I still think you close with that unless they have some kind of big angle plan for the other match. If there is some sort of major angle or introduction of a new talent or a heel turn or something, then totally understandable. You would want to go off the air with that as your big cliffhanger. But otherwise, I still feel the same way that I felt weeks ago, which is that Punk and McIntyre should be closing the show. And on that note, because Bad Blood is next Saturday, I'm going to run through the card right now and give you my predictions, because I think the card is pretty much set. They have got their 5 matches here. Could always add a 6th one this week. I'm not sure what that would be, but let's run through this here. We have Nia Jax and Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. It is now set. Bayley beat Naomi on SmackDown Friday night to become the #1 contender and get her rematch. You know, there's going to be a match probably on SmackDown this coming Friday between Naomi and Tiffany Stratton, because they had a little backstage segment. I've been going back and forth between whether or not Tiffany cashes in here, and if she does, she's going to win the title. But I think what I see is a Nia Jax win. I mean, Bayley is not going to win the title, but I see a Nia Jax win where Tiffany comes out, maybe tries to get involved, and Naomi comes out to try to counteract her. But I think Naomi may end up inadvertently costing Bayley the match, because there's been some real undertones between them lately that make me think that Naomi may be going heel soon. And if that's the case, I don't think it's an outright heel turn, but I do think that her coming out thinking that she's helping, and in the end she actually hurts Bayley unintentionally and leads to her loss, that seems more realistic to me. So I'm going to go with that as the setup for a Nia Jax win. And they hold off a little longer on Tiffany cashing in, hopefully not that much longer. The other women's championship match has Liv Morgan defending against Rhea Ripley. The stipulation, Dirty Dom is suspended above the ring in a shark cage. Brother is having flashbacks to being behind bars. This almost seems too obvious to me. It just makes me want to pick Liv Morgan. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan to retain, because I think that they want you to think that Dominic has been neutralized. And so now Liv Morgan is all by herself. She's got nobody to help her. And I had talked about a potential idea heading into SummerSlam, and it didn't pan out this way. But I still think that there's a good chance of this. And there was a report not that many weeks ago that Raquel Rodriguez is being discussed internally as far as a potential return and what they could do with her. The idea that with Dominic up in the cage, Rhea's got this woman dead to rights, and you have Raquel come back, because Raquel is somebody who has history with both Liv and with Rhea. Her and Rhea used to be thick as thieves. They used to be best friends in NXT, right? Turned enemies. With Liv, Raquel and Liv were former tag team champions. So there's history there. The idea that Raquel comes back in this spot helps Liv retain the title and now serves to Liv as what Camille is right now to Mercedes, for example, in AEW. I could see that working. And what it also does is it gives Rhea a challenger in the meantime to have to go through before she gets Liv back again. And the next time you run back Liv and Rhea, and you don't have to wait, until next year to do it. I mean, you could do it at Crown Jewel. You could do it at Saturday Night's Main Event. But I think there's more juice left to this thing, even if it's only a couple more months. So why not? I mean, what's the harm? And I posed this question on, I think, my Raw review on Monday night. What the hell are they going to do with Rhea Ripley if they just put the title on her and they kill this feud dead? If you keep the title on Liv, you kind of have the same problem, because other than Rhea, there's no obvious, feud for her right now. But if they keep the title on her, then they're building to one more match with Rhea. That's the whole point. You're adding a new dimension to it with Raquel, which makes it a little bit different. And then ultimately Rhea beats her and gets the belt. So I don't really see any good challenger for Rhea if they put the title on her now. I kind of fear like it would be this dead zone until we get into WrestleMania season. So I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. I like the Raquel idea. And frankly, even if Raquel is not going to show up and be a part of this, I just feel like, Dom's going to slip something down to her. There's going to be something going on here. It's going to lead to another Liv win. And then their third meeting is where Rhea, fair and square, will ultimately get the championship. And I don't see the harm in that. You drag it out a little bit longer. It's the biggest women's feud they have going right now. So why not? Damian Priest against Finn Balor. This is the first meeting between these two since Balor turned on Priest. A lot of history here. Going back a couple of years, all that time in the Judgment Day. It's only the first meeting. I think Finn Balor should win this match. I think he will win this match. So I'm going with him. And then we have really the two main events. We'll talk Hell in a Cell, I guess. Again, I'm hoping this closes the show, but whether it opens or it closes. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, it will be the close of their feud. McIntyre won the first one at SummerSlam. Punk came back and won the strap match at Bash in Berlin. So this is the rubber match here. This should close out this feud once and for all. They're inside the cell. It's a blood feud in that they have both promised blood in this match. So that makes things a little more interesting. And look, I'm not ruling out a Drew McIntyre win. It's possible he could go over here at the end. It would surprise me, though. I still feel like CM Punk, ultimately, the plan all along was probably for him to go over and get the win in this feud. If that happens, Drew McIntyre, I don't know where he goes from here on Raw, because I don't know that you can keep him and Punk in the same building every week. It's almost like one of those feuds where, this roster isn't big enough for the both of us. And I talked about this on Friday in my SmackDown review. AJ Styles is coming back to SmackDown on Friday night. What is he going to do? Is he going to be a heel? Is he going to be a babyface? We don't know yet. They could certainly use some top heels on SmackDown. The problem is he's already worked a program with Cody Rhodes, and he's already worked with LA Knight. And they're the two top babyface champions on SmackDown. He doesn't seem like the best fit right now to be a heel at the top of the SmackDown roster. In McIntyre and AJ, I see two big names that they could easily flip in a trade between the two GMs, where SmackDown gets McIntyre and Styles goes to Raw. Maybe as a babyface, and maybe you could even build to a title match with AJ and Gunther. I think that would be fun. I think McIntyre loses here and Punk gets the win. And then Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I guess kind of like their modern day mega powers, the two biggest stars, the two biggest baby faces in the entire company. Team up for the first time to take on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. What a spot for Jacob Fatu to be in. It's hard for me to imagine, barring some major angle, major turn involving Kevin Owens or Randy Orton or something like that. It's hard for me to imagine Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, the two biggest stars in the company, going in there and losing. We already saw Cody in a tag team match at Money in the Bank, right? It was a 6-man, losing to Solo Sikoa. So now here we are all these months later. We're going into Bad Blood. Cody and Roman on the same side. Roman's first match since losing at WrestleMania. I don't see Roman Reigns losing in his first match back. And I don't see Cody Rhodes as the WWE champion taking the loss either. At least when Cody Rhodes got pinned by Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank, it made sense because Solo was getting the title match at SummerSlam. I don't want to see Solo Sikoa get another title match. He's already had two. Do you really think they're going to have Jacob Fatu pin Cody Rhodes? Because if he does, then Jacob should be next in line for a title match. And that just feels like it's too soon to go there. Cody and Roman is the predictable play, but I think it's probably the correct one. I think that's what we're going to get. Again, whether or not they close the show or not, I think may just depend on whether or not there's a big angle for them to shoot. But I'm going with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for the win. And then after that, we'll get a better sense of what the hell War Games is going to look like. You know, are they going to try to go to Bloodline against Bloodline? I mean, right now, there's only one Bloodline. They've got a lot of work to do if they want to squeeze that in there. Or do they go with a match like Roman, Cody, Randy, and KO against the Bloodline? To me, at this moment, that's the match that makes more sense. But I'm also recording this here on September 29th, and War Games is 2 months away. A lot can happen in 2 months. We shall see. But the card looks good, and I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be next Saturday. And just keep in mind, early start time because they're trying to wrap up before the UFC pay-per-view that night. So that's why it is a 6 p.m. Eastern start time, a little bit different than usual. And as soon as the show is over, you can catch the live review on YouTube, as always.